Hello, welcome, my friends. It's another Friday night, doing things a little bit differently this evening. We're taking a break from the normal, regular schedule program of the Midnight Oil, and we're going to burn some of the Midnight Oil by myself. I got a little behind on things. Life got busy. A lot of stuff that was going on this week, and we couldn't properly plan for a real show. So I decided to take the reins by myself, and we're going to talk storytelling in the 2020s. Because I was just watching a bunch of stuff recently, and I was thinking about how there is this full spectrum of stuff that's released, and some of it's really great, some of it's not so great, some of it's just horrible. I've seen a lot of this stuff recently. Before we get into it, hello, ANCAP Gamer. Welcome to the show. Good to see you as always. I have my hot cup of coffee ready. But yeah, I kind of wanted to just talk about, I don't know, we would start really with the main focus of this, and to discuss storytelling and how we see so many, we see some good stories out there. There's some really good stuff that's come out. There's been some okay stuff that's come out, and there's just been some bad stuff that's come out. And there's always going to be that. There's been bad TV shows, there's been bad movies forever, for whatever reason. What I've seen, or what I've observed recently, since I've watched a few shows, I've begun watching some shows, completed some others, and I don't know. It seems to be like lazy from start to finish. Like there's lazy production, lazy effects, lazy writing. And maybe lazy is not the right word. Perhaps it's bad. Perhaps it's just bad writing. There's definitely bad effects. Notice that. And there's some like corny effects occasionally, but so what I wanted to do was talk about as the title says, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because we have them all. The three shows I want to discuss as it pertains to all of this is The Boys from Amazon, Outer Range from Amazon, and finally Obi-Wan Kenobi from Disney Plus. I don't know if they're necessarily the most fair comparisons all the way around, but there's just some like stark differences between the three series, and I've watched them all recently, and I feel like we can discuss how they all differ, and that's, like I said, that's kind of the point of the talk tonight, is to focus on these things and maybe understand what the difference is, because what I want to do is start with the ugly. We'll start with Obi-Wan Kenobi, because I find all the way around it's a pretty rough show. I think the intentions behind it are obviously good. I don't think they want to make bad Star Wars properties, but like I've said in previous videos, and I've said in other discussions I've had with some friends, is that the show is lacking on many fronts. One being the writing. The writing just feels lazy. It doesn't feel like anyone truly cared. Like while writing this, it seems like they're just trying to put words on a page, fill in space, and that was about it. Which is unfortunate, because I feel like Star Wars has always been a good balance of like serious themes, humor, and action. Because it kind of touches on just about everything. And I feel that with the sequel trilogy, 7, 8, and 9, and a lot of the shows that have come out recently, both with Disney Star Wars and the Disney MCU, is that they're being a little heavy-handed on the humor and not putting in like the serious elements as much, or not treating them with the same care that they did in the past. And in Kenobi, it's just rampant. Like there's a lot of like, they try and bring a lot of levity to certain situations, but it feels too quick, and it also isn't balanced properly with like good drama. And the drama they do throw in there feels contrived. It feels directionless. Most notably in episode 3, there's, and spoilers for those who have not seen it yet, but there's a duel, if you want to call it that, between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi. And it is about as poorly choreographed as anything's ever been. Nothing felt completely disjointed, and it didn't seem like there was any real stakes in it. Now, I have my theories about this particular duel, in that I believe they're going to play that whole thing off as if it never happened, as if Obi-Wan had imagined he was being stalked by Darth Vader away from that town, and that he, like, his like post-traumatic stress that he's been experiencing since his duel with Anakin in episode 3 has been haunting him so much that he is seeing him throughout this area, when in fact he's just running from himself. I feel like this betrays the character of Obi-Wan Kenobi in general, because even in A New Hope, we see him as this mentor to Luke, and someone who, even though he's in his advanced age, he's not afraid to go up against the Empire. He's not afraid to mix in with someone he knows he will likely meet his end during that whole thing. So, and obviously in A New Hope, Ben Kenobi dies at the hand of Darth Vader. So the show is, I mean, for many reasons, for many, it sort of wrecks Star Wars canon a bit, the fact that they do meet. And again, this is why I think that they're playing this off as I think they're going to play this off as like a hallucination from his PTSD, because they shouldn't be meeting again before episode 4. The dialogue doesn't line up, right? We've seen it 100 times. Doesn't line up, doesn't match. What I'm talking about is the line of, when I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master. So this would obviously be calling back to when they dueled on Mustafar. When he left, he joined the Emperor, became Sith Lord. Done. So this show really illustrates how badly, I mean, and again, it's bad on many fronts. It's bad on the effects front. The effects don't look very good. Some of the setting is really weird. The setting choices are very strange. Like there's a point in episode 3 where Leia and Obi-Wan come up to like a roadblock. Obi-Wan takes out the guards, and then he's like, "Oh, how do we get through this? I'll try and deactivate it." And he uses a contraption that looks just like what he used on the Death Star. It's this little thing, force field, pulls it down. That doesn't work, so he steps back, blasts it, and then we get an over the head shot, like, a top down shot. And they could have just walked around the edge of the the gate. And I should try and find this photo, because it was someone compared it. Let me see, where is it? I believe to a Blazing Saddles Blazing Saddles scene. I'm gonna try and find it real quick, and I'm pretty sure it's here. Let me look. We'll find it. Don't, stay with me. Stay with me here. We're going to find it. There's a lot of stuff. Oh my God. I'm looking through someone's timeline who I knew posted it, or I thought I knew posted it, but there's a lot of stuff, extra stuff on there that I'm seeing. So it's, yeah. Come on. Where are you? Where are you? Are you here? Maybe not. Maybe not. Okay, it's not here. So we're not going to worry about that right now. The point is, we see bad effects, we see bad writing, we see just bad dialogue, bad back and forth dialogue between Obi-Wan and Leia. The character of Inquisitor Reva is like, I feel like there's something good that can come of it, but we've had little backstory. We have, I believe, 3 episodes remaining in this series, and we haven't, it's either 3 or 4, because I don't know if they're counting part 1 and 2, like the first 2 episodes is 1 episode, and then 5 more after that. We'll see, I guess. The character is just so incredibly, it's so poorly written that she doesn't really resemble a big threat. And she's already, like in episode 3, she sees a symbol on the wall of where Obi-Wan and Leia escape, and it seems to have an effect on her, and she, like, as if she's calling back to her, Jedi training, because again, we assume that the very first scene of the clone troopers executing Order 66, I think we're led to believe that she's in that group of younglings. So there's already this conflict in her, and we've seen quite a bit of Reva since the show started. We've seen probably as much of Reva as we have Obi-Wan at this point, and it's unfortunate that this is not called the Adventures of Obi-Wan and Reva, because it probably would be more aptly named in that situation. But what are you gonna do? It was pretty ugly. It's pretty ugly all the way around. And I've seen people try and make excuses for like little things that are put throughout the show. Like they translated names that were on the wall, and they were call outs to characters from like Rebels, or other non-canon stuff as of now. And that's all well and good, but that doesn't make up for, again, crappy writing and crappy acting. I don't believe that Inquisitor Reva is a convincing character. I don't see the pain in her, and which I'll kind of illustrate and talk about as we move throughout the different shows that I'm thinking of. So, yeah, the unfortunate part about this is the Star Wars show. Like, in my eyes, there's little hope as to how you salvage something like Obi-Wan Kenobi. We're only in episode 3, so it's a bit of an unfair comparison in that the other shows I talk about have completed 2 seasons, completed 1 season, and this we haven't gotten the full spectrum of the show. So, I mean, to that end, say what you want. I mean, or think what you want, but also the other shows, even within this time frame of 3 episodes, a lot had happened, and a lot of great characters had acted through them. And now, again, it's another one of those shows in a similar case like Moon Knight, where I'm waiting for something good to happen. I'm like on the edge of my seat, hoping and praying that something happens, and it's not there. It's not there. So with the ugly out of the way, we can step into the good. There's a good show that came out of the 2020s, and this year, Amazon dropped a new show starring Josh Brolin and Lily Taylor called Outer Range. So Outer Range follows this ranching family in Wyoming. Quick call out. Hello, Darkopter. Thank you for showing up and hanging out. Welcome. We're talking about good, bad, and ugly shows that have come out in the past couple of years. And for now, I'm focusing on 3. I just talked about Obi-Wan Kenobi being the ugly show for many reasons, which I'm sure you've heard already. So stepping into the good, the bad, sorry, being Outer Range. And I don't think the show Outer Range is a bad show. It's pretty good. And I mean the royal we. I'm talking about it, just myself tonight. Outer Range was a good show, but it was where the storytelling sort of gets out of control is there's so many questions being asked. There's question after question being asked. Like, we're led down this path. We go 1 step forward, 2 steps back, and it leaves the audience a bit confused. There are questions that are answered. There's things that are explained, but by the end you feel like you've reached season 6 or 7 of Lost, and you're like, okay, what's happening? Things seem to be happening because they need them to happen. And it's weird because there's good star power. There's good star power in Outer Range. I should pull up a quick little how do you do. Hey Brian, how's it going? How are you? Did I spell that right? I don't know. No, I didn't, but it's okay. Sorry, I'm just pulling up this. I'll close that. Just going to pull up the web page and share it with you guys. Brian/Aurora. Share screen. Let me share. So like I said, we talked about this a little bit in our own show as a group. So it has been discussed, but the show itself stars Josh Brolin, Imogen Poots, and Lily Taylor, and Will Patton. Will Patton's another good name in here. So the gist of it is this mysterious hole appears on Josh Brolin's land. And hold on, I move this over here so I can see occasionally. So this giant hole appears in his land, and he comes across it, and that's it. So his 2 sons, get into a bar fight with the neighboring ranch's son. One of the boys ends up killing the other one in the process. Josh Brolin brings the body, throws it into the hole to get rid of the evidence. The body reappears several days later. They let the police know. Now they're being investigated. Oh shit. Hey NCAP, thanks so much. That's a very nice compliment. Thank you very much. I would love to earn my shout outs where I can. I'm happy that you guys enjoy. So this story follows Josh Brolin for the most part, his kids trying to cover up this murder, trying to get their lives back to normal. But all along the way, the questions are asked constantly. Like, what is this? Where does this hole go? At one point, Josh Brolin is pushed into the hole by a mysterious stranger, played by Imogen Poots. Again, this is loading very fast, but so this is the girl who pushes him in the hole right here. I don't know why this is taking so long to load. But she is a mysterious girl who wanders onto the property and is asking questions. You know, what is this place? I just want to come stay on your land. She's drawing this mysterious symbol, which resembles the Abbott family. So it's Josh Brolin's family name. The Abbott family's crest goes over the gateway to their ranch, and we see a lot of the same people when Josh Brolin goes into this giant hole. Why this show is bad is because it becomes very unclear as to what direction this story is going. We understand the characters very well. The characters interact very well with each other. I believe in these characters. I believe their pain. I believe Josh Brolin's character is very conflicted and confused, and the sheriff, the acting sheriff of the town, she's very determined. She's passionate about her job. She has great acting presence. Imogen struggles a little bit as Autumn, like this mysterious, like sort of stranger. So I didn't love her all that much, but she does fairly well. Lily Taylor plays the matriarch of the family, and she's wonderful. The two boys, Perry and Rhett, I think they play their parts very well. They're very different. Perry is the one who kills the boy he kills the guy in the bar fight. He plays the more adjusted brother. He has a family. His wife has disappeared. They don't know where she went. Rhett is the ladies' man, can't really grow up. But essentially it is another Lost series. It's very much in the same vein as Lost and Twin Peaks. So it's very, like I said, there's lots of questions that are asked, not many that are answered. There's Billy Tillerson, who is one of them. So the Tillersons are the neighboring ranch, the patriarch being Will Patton, and the two boys, Luke and Billy, and I can't remember the other boy's name. Trevor is the one who gets killed. But Billy is very strange because he likes to sing pop songs like randomly to people. Luke is the tougher, more like adjusted of the brothers, like autism or something. Luke seems pretty normal. His relationship with his mother is solid, and they sort of want to conspire to like overthrow the dad, who played by Will Patton. Yeah, there's too many things going on. And again, this is where the series loses me because it's well written. The characters are great. There's great characters in this show. Again, I believe the struggle. What I don't believe is what's happening to them. And I don't understand the point of what's happening to them because there needs to be a reason. This hole is here. By the end of the show, the hole is gone. And we learn a lot about the characters in the process. I don't really want to spoil too much of what happens in case people want to take a look at it, because it is a good show. By the end, you're exhausted with the amount of questions that you have to answer. So when you're writing a story, in my opinion, good storytelling is done within, like, each season should be able to operate on its own, and you should be able to add to those if you want to do more, but it shouldn't require, each season shouldn't necessarily require you to leave a bunch of open-ended questions. It's okay to introduce people who might be, like, if you introduce a new character, like, it shouldn't be obvious that they need to continue the story in order to explain who they might be. Or if you're going to move someone to another place, like, the story should be able to end there. and we would not need to care about why someone might be displaced from the main story. And also the issue with the show too is that we start to broach subjects of time travel, and it's really hard to do time travel well. And I think this show is starting to struggle with that. So yeah, this show's not, I put this show as like the bad here because good characters and good story can be drowned out by poor like writing. Like, you don't need to leave us hanging for the sake of leaving us hanging. Tie off the ends that we need tied off, and then elaborate on the story later. Which, when we move into the good, so the show that I think is one of the better shows that has been done over the past couple of years, we talk about The Boys. So bring that up here. The Boys, it started in 2019. I was just able to work through the first two seasons. The third season just came out today, just dropped today. I have not been able to watch any of it yet, but the show stars Carl Urban, Jack Quaid, which is Randy Quaid's, or not Randy, what the hell is it? Dennis Quaid's son, Andy Starr, and the second season stars Giancarlo Esposito. And I'm trying to think if there's any other big names. There are, and I just can't think of them. But welcome in, Trade 50 Daniel. How you doing, sir? How you doing? We're just talking. We're talking storytelling, good, the bad, and the ugly. And so we've gone through Obi-Wan Kenobi being the ugly storytelling, bad storytelling being Outer Range from Amazon, and now I've jumped into The Boys being one of my favorite shows of the past couple of years, based on the graphic novel. So Carl Urban plays Billy Butcher. He's tell you, man, he's one ruthless motherfucker. It's pretty crazy. Let's see, Jack Quaid, Anthony Starr. Oh, Anthony Starr is Homelander. Okay, I've never seen him in anything else. Anyone else of note? Giancarlo Esposito is awesome. Elizabeth Shue. I forgot Elizabeth Shue's in the very first season, and she's old. I'll tell you what. Elizabeth Shue is old. If you don't know who Elizabeth Shue is, she played. She was in. What is that show? Why can't I think of it? Elizabeth Shue, best known for probably Back to the Future 2. Back to the Future 3, I guess. Mr. Smith, how you doing? Good to see you. He was in Banshee. Let me go back and take a look. You're talking about Anthony Starr? Oh, yes, Adventures in Babysitting. Absolutely, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, she was in it. Yep. The Boys is an example of taking a, like, so I have not read the comics of The Boys. I really want to now, but this show really just does it all. And why I chose this as like the good one, it should be under like the best. Like, this is how you tell stories. And as I was watching the 7th episode of season 2 and the finale of season 2, I was like, I just could not believe that this was a show, like a modern show. The show does a good job at poking fun at both woke culture and just normal culture. It toes both lines. So that made me feel good, first of all, because there are elements where I have to like roll my eyes a bit, but it's not heavy-handed, and they do it in a very joking manner. But the show itself essentially follows Jack Quaid, who plays Hugh Campbell, and Billy Butcher, played by Carl Urban. These two guys basically lead the show, and then and then a big proponent being Homelander, being like the Superman of the group. No, The Boys was not woke as fuck. It really wasn't. I was really blown away by how well this show comes off. And I'll tell you again, what happens with these shows is that the actors in them either make them or break them. And what's refreshing too is so that the superhero trope has been done so much recently. We're coming off of 20 years of MCU films, of like legit, like every year a few films of MCU coming out. And this show was such a breath of fresh air because I think that it's been so overdone that this just takes the whole thing and turns it on its head. Mr. Smith says the comics are darker than the show. The initial scene with Starlight, for example, isn't a simple BJ. Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine it being darker. There's some moments in this show that I thought, like, I can't believe they put that on television. It's pretty brutal. But if you're looking for if you're really looking for a show that is like testosterone fuel action rage, and like, this is the show, man. Like, this show does a really good job. And I heard people say, like, oh, the second season's not as good as the first season. I disagree. I feel like they really upped the ante on the emotional side of things. Again, this is coming from someone who has not read source material. But if the source material is anything like what I've been watching over the past couple weeks, really the past week, it's bound to be phenomenal. Like, I'm really impressed. Homelander, Anthony Starr, Carl Urban, and Jack Quaid really, really carry the show. I really like Frenchie as well. Frenchie is like, he's part of the team of he grew on me throughout season 1 and into season 2. Mother's Milk is he's there, but he's not like, he doesn't do a whole lot. But Frenchie seems to be a lot more dynamic of a character. Homelander, again, like he's portrayed in such a good way. Like you feel whatever pain and suffering is happening inside his head, like you understand it. And by the end of the second season, you see him like break for the first time in the finale. He's covered in blood. He's soaked in the blood of people that he murdered. It's such a good arc so far. Is there not any just fun media anymore? I want to be taken to a fun setting and just forget my troubles a bit. That doesn't exist anymore. Well, this show, but that's why I think this show is fun, because while it does play with some things that are happening right now, it's really an escape. It's an adrenaline rush, man. It's really beautifully done. Like in the very, very first episode, like the opening moments of episode 1, Jack Quaid, who plays Huey Campbell, he's holding on to his girlfriend at the time, and she's standing like out on the street, and he's standing up on the sidewalk holding her hands, and A-Train, who's like a speedster, he's essentially the Flash in this show, runs through her. Like, there's like this slow motion moment where like blood like splatters all over Hugh Campbell's face, and like just it turns her into like viscera, just, and it just catches you by surprise, man. It's just right there, bang, and you're not expecting it necessarily at first. You know that the show's like pretty like real and messed up, but wow, it's all there. Trey, I think you would really like the show if you watched it. And he is still holding her. Yeah, he's holding her bloody hand. There's a couple moments. There's a couple really cringe moments in this. At one point, like the Asian girl who's got like superhuman strength, like she actually like tears a guy's face off. Like heads explode. Like it's pretty brutal. It's pretty brutal. But again, how the show is written, Carl Urban's story, who plays Billy Butcher, his wife disappears 8 years prior to the show starting. He's been searching for her. It turns out, so he in this gang of miscreants, being Mother's Milk, Frenchie, him, are basically like CIA contractors that are trying to, like, they investigate the supers, and he believes that Homelander killed his wife. So he's trying to go after Homelander, who's basically Superman. And he comes across, I forget exactly how he comes across Hugh Campbell, Jack Quaid's character, but he basically recruits him into finding a super and gets involved with these guys and just sort of tags along because he's so at the end of his rope. He wants to, like, essentially kill himself because he just lost his girlfriend. His girlfriend just got eviscerated by a superhero. These superheroes don't necessarily care for everyday people. There's a few good ones, but Homelander seems to be a megalomaniac, just evil person at heart, even though he's, again, Superman. Trey says, I might have to give it a watch. I just kind of done with dark, gritty worlds. I feel like that's all media I've seen for years. Yeah. And again, what I'll say is that this show toes a line. While it is dark, wait, Brian said, this is the show for you. While it does toe it does have very dark moments, this show plays really well, again, on like kind of what I was saying with Star Wars. Star Wars had very, very good moments of serious drama, but balanced with smart moments of levity, which is what happens in this show. There's some really dark moments in this show, but as quickly as they start, like, you get this like really good, like, these like really good joke at someone's expense, and you're not necessarily expecting it. So again, that's why I think, like, this show, it kind of came out of nowhere, especially in a time where things are taking a really big twist, and like with all the Me Too stuff coming out and all that, like, it even pokes fun at like LGBTQ politics and how companies just like force like gay narratives on people. They like, even like, again, the Me Too stuff, like one of the superheroes is like harassing the female superheroes and he gets pushed away. So it's an interesting show. Again, I think people would like it. It's in a world filled with just complete garbage TV shows more often than not right now. It was such a breath of fresh air. It was so well done. It was a very welcome change from the normal thing that you see. And the cast is awesome. The cast just blows away. Like I said, my biggest issue with something like Star Wars, like Obi-Wan Kenobi, is the fact that I don't believe any of the characters that are acting in it. I don't care about what they're doing. I don't feel anything for them. But when it comes to these characters, especially the main ones, like Billy Butcher, Huey Campbell, Homelander, Annie January, like Starlight, this is one of the superheroes. I feel for these characters in their struggle. I feel their pain, especially Billy Butcher. He is a haunted man, and you see it in his face. You see it in how he walks. He like carries it all on his shoulders. Like, just the way he talks, like his dialogue is so well written. Mr. Smith says, I know that feeling. Luckily, my son is 15 now, so he wants to watch all the classic good movies like The Shawshank Redemption. The Shawshank Redemption is one of my favorite movies of all time, if not the favorite movie of all time. And again, these movies are not written like You're just not going to find movies written like this anymore. It's really, really unfortunate. But The Shawshank Redemption is one of my all-time favorites. And let's see. So that Forrest Gump, like Forrest Gump is a movie you just won't see a movie made like that anymore, and it's a real shame because they're beautifully done. They take really hard things, and they walk a line. Well, they walk today's line. Ow. Frank Darabont is the same guy who created The Walking Dead. So did he write The Boys? Wait, who did? Oh, he did the what? Oh, he wrote The Shawshank Redemption. Why did I think he would? Why did I think that was someone else? Why did I think? Who directed The Shawshank? Oh, you know what I'm thinking of? Okay, this is why it threw me off. It's a Stephen King book. That's why. So, and usually Stephen King writes his screenplays. I didn't realize that Frank Darabont wrote the screenplay. That was a big slip up. My bad. Oh, The Shawshank Redemption is a, again, if you're looking for another movie that, well, again, it's dark, but it's a movie that really is written beautifully. What was the? Okay, sorry. The short novel is called Rita Hayworth and The Shawshank Redemption. Okay, that's something I should read. Yeah, Shawshank Redemption is a great movie. Again, another beautifully written movie. But yeah, the stuff we're getting today is just. I had a discussion with one of my Discord members about the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and she had asked repeatedly, like, why do you even bother watching these shows if they're so bad? And I just said, well, quite honestly, like, I mean, I hear everyone's plight to not watch it because it's giving Disney more money, but like I've invested a lot of time into a lot of the Disney stuff, and there's a part of me, there's the kid inside of me that wants it to be good. I understand that watching the show gives Disney money, I guess. But my kids like the old Disney movies, some of the newer ones, and I do want them to watch those. But I'm not excited for the stuff that's coming out, because if they're anything like Obi-Wan Kenobi, they're just, it's bad. It's bad writing. It's lazy production, and like, we deserve better. I mean, they deserve better. They deserve to make better movies or better shows for their Star Wars universe. And I can't for the life of me understand why they continue to change them the way they do. There was a couple of good moments. There's been some good moments in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, but nothing, like, it doesn't stay. Again, when you put like little Easter eggs in shows, it doesn't make up for poor writing and poor acting ever. Yeah, and part of it, I think part of it is we're just jaded. We grew up with some really good stuff. We grew up in the golden age of television. Right. But even so, if you've watched all of the episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi, you see, like, the first couple episodes, he's pretty good as Obi-Wan. He's pretty good as a PTSD Obi-Wan. But in episode 3, like, the way he even handles his lightsaber, it's like he doesn't know how to hold it. He's exhausted. Like, even me, like, I haven't played baseball in 10 years. I could pick up a bat tomorrow in my glove and ball and still have proper form. Like, I might not be as good. I might not hit the ball as much, but dude, like, it was so bad watching it. It was like watching a totally different person wield the lightsaber, especially because he was pretty proficient in in A New Hope. His character in A New Hope, like, still fought fine against Vader. Modern Warfare 2 probably won't be a flop. Like the Modern Warfare remake was fine. The story was fine. The multiplayer, I was playing the multiplayer the other day. It's fine. It's not gonna. I mean, it's not gonna change lives or anything the way the first one did. Because again, there's no coming back to that. Ow, my back is killing me. Yeah, there's just too many inconsistencies, and at the expense of a really good story later on. Like at this point, I don't care if they did something with like 7, 8, 9 stuff after that. Like, do it. Like, fine, you can fuck that up. I don't care. Don't screw up the story between the prequels and the original trilogy. Please don't. You know that you're right, Trey. I think part of it there is, yeah. I mean, part of growing up is like you become jaded. Like you appreciate the things that you had when you were a kid, and those things sort of disappear. And that's like one of the points I wanted to highlight for stuff today is there are good things out there that we have to take a chance on. Like, so we in the last episode of the Midnight Oil, we talked about how going through the golden age of television, we had some really, we were riding a huge high. There were a lot of great shows when we were growing up. Now we have like the average now is much lower. It's the lowest it's been in years. Hey, No Green Rocks, welcome in. Hail, my brother. How you doing? Happy Friday. So we've come so far from the golden age of television that we have to readjust our expectations. We can't aim too high, like when we're going into a new show. That's why seriously, The Boys was like, when I say it's a breath of fresh air, I mean we're getting back to really good storytelling. It's not the best because there is some elements to it that I had to roll my eyes to. I don't care about the gore. I think the gore is fine. I think it was an interesting like juxtaposition of events, you know. Right, and that's the other thing. You have to remember too, like, yeah, and I agree. With the volume of content that's coming out, we've never had this much content come out at once and be so easily acceptable. In the golden age, you know, so the early 2000s to the early 2000s to the early 2010s is like is the world is riding high with TV. But we had to wait for each episode. Netflix was in its very infancy, and actually, yeah, I mean, I think Netflix was like 2009, maybe 2010, and even then, at that point, it wasn't streaming. It was you had to mail it, you had to request a disc off the internet and get the disc. People were still collecting DVDs at this point. So with the sheer amount of volume that's coming out, it starts to water down the actual content. No Green Rock says, I have a theory. The longer they give us crap, the more people will fight back to make good content at some point. Think about how frustrated people are. People are inevitably going to create. Absolutely. Like, that's why in some fashion, these companies need to fail in order to have something rise out of the ashes. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with you there. I think it'll be a bit, but we're starting to see, like, I think people are done with some of the, like, they want to find those hidden gems again. And again, I think The Boys is one of them. I think The Boys is one of those TV shows that I think as long as it doesn't run too long, I think if it doesn't get into too many seasons down the road, I think that you'll see that this is one of those shows that will go down as one of the best in recent memory. And it's a superhero show. It's a superhero show. And that's like, I didn't think I would say that about it. I thought it was just gonna be a fun little ride, but it's like the end of season 2 was, I was a wreck. Like I was like, it was emotional, man. It was one of the more emotional moments. I haven't really like gotten choked up at a show in a long time. And part of it could be that I'm a dad and it does involve a kid. But I mean that's what I mean. We have some good shows. We have a lot of bad shows, and there's the uglies are out there, man. They're more and more prevalent. The companies that are capable of producing this are too big to fail. They might lose in the long run, but they have enough cash, especially Disney, to burn favor almost forever. Yeah. And to some extent, people are right. You know, at some point, I'm going to have to give up on Disney and just pull the plug on it and not watch it. But for now, like I want to watch it and cover it because I know there's people who want to know about it. So I would like to be one of those people who talks about it. But part of me, the hopeful nostalgic in me, wants these shows to get better. I want them to wow me. I want them. You know, I want season 2 of Kenobi, or I want season 2 or 3 of The Mandalorian to somehow turn the corner and give us again like something that is Star Wars, that feels like Star Wars. You can have competition like the Daily Wire is doing, and supposedly Trump is making Netflix competitor, but I doubt it's gonna be good. Yeah, you know, I mean, I think honestly I trust the Daily Wire to put together good stuff more than I do Trump's doing it out of spite. It feels like you know, what was that movie that the Daily Wire, was it Run Hide Fight or something like that with a girl? It was fairly derivative, but like it was still good. It was written fairly well. There's a couple of moments that were like but they did a good job with it. And then Terror on the Prairie, that's coming out soon. I can't really afford the Daily Wire stuff. It's pretty expensive, and I don't read their articles enough to justify. Forget big companies. Keep an eye out for things like the Rippaverse. Absolutely. No, I mean, people gotta start thinking indie, because that's how you're going to create the competition. That's how you're going to fight these bigger companies. Is like you might not be able to go toe to toe with someone like Disney, but when people create good universes outside of what's established, that's when there's hope. We start looking at people who genuinely care about storytelling and don't just want to toe the line, as it were. It's really important that we got to support, you support small creators, because even when it comes to like YouTube stuff, like you support the small creators that you love and that you feel could make a difference, because it just inspires better content all around. It's the beauty, is one of the beauties of capitalism, right? Or free market. The more competitors you have, the better that products become and the cheaper products become. Yeah. It's unfortunate. I try not to be too black-pilled when it comes to this stuff. Superman says, I want more fan films. I want to see what normal people create. I agree, man. There's a lot of stuff out there. Like we covered that the Batman Broken Promises fan film the other day. It was a 15-minute Batman short, and it was great, man. We need more stuff like that. Good storytelling. And my plan is to cover some of the stuff across Netflix too. There's another show I would put in the good category for this, as far as good writing, is Love, Death, and Robots. If you guys haven't watched the Love, Death, and Robots show, that's another really good one. So those are made up of, they're a bunch of sci-fi vignettes, and they range from like 7 minutes to like 25 minutes. They're pretty short. I would say on average they're probably about 15 minutes long. It's Dark Ops. I said on the Daily Wire, I don't watch mainstream media really. What is a Woman was a good documentary too. Candace Owens is having hers on BLM in June 20th. Yeah, I'm tempted. I am tempted. It's just it's expensive. It is expensive. That's the only thing that's holding me back at this point, is the expense. But that's the point. This is the point, right? This is why I do what I do. What I would rather do is plant trees that other people could sit underneath, right? That's the point. I would love to see success. I would love to see 1,000 people here. But more so, it's like to spread some sort of like good to the world. I could provide shade for someone in the future, for my kids. And it's about, and I've talked about this many times, it's about the actions that one performs, right? It's about like how do I act on a day-to-day basis so my child can witness that, and that's how I treat people. Like ultimately, and this will apply to like TV shows. The point is that we never have to teach kids about individual things that they need to do. Like you don't need to teach kids about identity and all that, because that doesn't matter. What matters is that they witness how to treat a normal person, how to treat people on a day-to-day basis. If they know that, if they see good result or good examples from their mother and their father, or those two figures in their life, that will carry over. It won't matter if they came across a four-headed monster. They would know how to act when they came across something they didn't quite understand. But kids are kids. They're always going to ask questions, and they're always going to be like, oh, what is that? If something is ambiguous to them, they're going to ask. That's what kids do. It's the natural reaction. There's no reason to break things up into small categories. And this is, again, and the reason this relates to storytelling is because it comes down to one thing: show, don't tell. Show, don't tell. Look at any movie, any show that's really good. They do this extremely well. They don't come out and tell you anything. But what do a lot of these modern shows do? They come out and they tell you that I am the woman. I am the thing. I am the person. I am great because of that. No, that's not how it goes. Show me through action. Show me through your good deeds why you are that person. Because this is how, again, we never take for example, The Boys. Billy Butcher is essentially an anti-hero. He is meant to be the protagonist, but he plays the anti-hero role because he is pretty brutal in his actions. If you follow exactly what he does good things, but it's morally questionable. This is how you get good characters. You have to think about, like, is this person good? Compare it to something like Reva or Rey or even Obi-Wan in this new series. Are these really good people? Well, they say that they are. Their actions are odd, but you're told time after time, this is a good person. This is the person who needs to lead. Show me in their actions that is who they are. Oh, I do what I can with the free tools I have to show others it is possible to be poor and find a way to create with minimal resources. Anyone can do what I do. They just need to ignore the roadblocks. Absolutely. And again, that in sharing that knowledge, right? Because what people forget at the end of the day is that someone else's success is not your failure. So, and what I mean by that is, if you, Green Rocks, if you find someone like a friend of yours and you bring them into the legion of memers and you show them how to do certain things, and all of a sudden their memes become popular, that's not your failure because you're not as popular as them. It's your you don't share in their success or failure necessarily. You are your own individual person, but you gave someone the knowledge and or skill to do what they do, and you gave them success. That's the point. We shouldn't always be looking for our handout in what's going on. And again, this is why you see bad writing and bad shows. It's because they think that because of a certain inalienable trait that they deserve something, and that's just not what it is. Results are what make you great and separate you from others. Create results, and there's no limit to what you can do. Absolutely. And none of this comes without hard work. Whether you're showing someone other things, you're doing something with free software, you're doing it with paid, it's all hard work. And people to some extent don't want to do the hard work. It's easier to write, like in the context of storytelling, it's easier to write something that says, I am great because of XYZ. It's harder to tell the story in detail or in panels with actual artwork. It's difficult. It's time consuming, right? And yeah, and it's the same feeling that people get when you're raising small children. When you see your child mimic your behaviors, your good behaviors, it's a great feeling. More people need to realize when it comes to storytelling, show, don't tell. And in great shows, like something like The Boys, this is very obviously the case. Like almost always. And you look at any show that you feel like some connection with the characters and some understanding of the characters, you've been shown their struggle. You've been shown their actions. Now it's up to you to make the decision on how what these people are. In the case of something like Obi-Wan Kenobi, like not only is it bad writing, but like if the writing was even somewhat good, the acting is so bad in many parts that you don't believe the words that are being said or the actions that are being committed. I don't believe that Reva is a real threat in that show because of her acting. That writing in the place of the right person, it totally changes it. The tone of Obi-Wan Kenobi is so far off that we're left wondering, like, what does this company even understand what the show is anymore? Do we understand how this universe is made up? Because it's not even plagued by a bunch of special effects. Like there's a bunch of practical effects in this show that also kind of ruin it. The other Inquisitors don't really look that good. Sure, it's all practical makeup and effects and prosthetics, but like, does Disney even really care? I don't know. It does. Again, so if we go off of their actions, right? As I've been saying, if we look at what they've been doing, no, I don't know. Their actions say, we don't care. We want to make money. We know people are going to come and watch this show, so we're just going to put it out. And Trey said earlier that one of the issues is you have so much content coming out and so many time slots to fill. Like is it possible to have a good show every time? Because if you think back to the golden age of television, like you had a bunch of shows, but a lot of them were on different networks, and there wasn't 10 or 12 shows coming out like within a year. Because again, the part of it is that they need to be. We're inundated with content. These production companies are inundated with content. They need to put it out, but they don't have the people to actually write it well. And for something like Star Wars, you just need your best. Take a quick second here, great people. Newslad, welcome in, my friend. How you doing? Killbot, welcome in. How you guys doing? Appreciate you guys all for coming and hanging out. We're doing a little bit different of a format tonight. I decided to go solo. I was sort of just unprepared this week for the group midnight oil, so I figured I'd burn the midnight oil all by myself this evening. Catch up with chat a little bit. I think I think they are thinking putting out a plethora of content, hoping that one is a hit instead of focusing on making good content. Oh, absolutely. I think that's exactly what's happening. Shagsworth is right. They just expect people to watch, otherwise they demand better. Right. And again, this is in some fashion, this is good news, because like, while they might not fail, these shows will fail and they will have to make a change, because consumer trust isn't like, it doesn't go forever. Like, whether the company is big or not, they will eventually pull away and they won't buy that product. They throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. Oh, sure. Quantity over quality. That I mean, yeah. However we need to phrase it, that's exactly what's going on. Because again, and this is a problem with the culture, right? You can relate this back to why this is bad for culture. And we are blessed. Most of us here are blessed by the fact that we grew up in a time where we had to wait for shows to come out week after week. There was a big argument on Friday Night Tights several weeks ago about whether it was better to consume, like is TV better because you can binge it now, or was it better under the fact that you had to take it episode by episode. And there's something to be said by having to wait. Ooh, hi. You scared me. Okay, that scared the crap out of me. We're going back to the weekly cycle. I've noticed, so I have noticed that the like The Boys is a weekly show. Outer Range was a weekly show, but they released 2 episodes per week. They've invested so much on the IP that they want to cut corners now and make money off the inherited fan base. I'm sure there's a calculation that's been done on how they can disappoint us and still make money. Oh, I'm sure. I think you're exactly right, Mr. Smith. And I think that's what you've seen too with the MCU. The MCU has taken consumer trust and stretched it about as far as it can with the new stuff coming out. Like Phase 4, I think, is an absolute disaster. I think it's a disaster as far as legacy audience is concerned. I don't think anyone who really enjoyed Phase 1 through 3 give any shits about Phase 4 at this point. And it's too far gone now. It's too far gone at this point to say, well, we don't know what's happening. They're building towards something. At this point, we had way more details about what was going on in Phase 1, 2, and 3. And now it's just, again, it's content for content's sake, not for quality of content. And that is a real problem. Eventually, consumer trust will run out and they will have to figure out how to get it back. And it will, at that point, most of us will be way too far gone. And yes, most of TV is garbage. From what I heard, Netflix might be changing their tune. Culture Casino said they actually said no to a few shows this week, and that's good. And again, like I said, one of the threads of hope that I hold on to at this point is like a show, Love, Death, and Robots. If you guys have seen if you haven't seen Love, Death, and Robots, like I said, it's a bunch of sci-fi vignettes, very short, easily consumable, really good writing, really good stories, great animation, all around amazing. Check it out. It's definitely different than a lot of stuff. And like Squid Game's the other one that, was a total like, what the fuck? Remember when Game of Thrones came out every week and the buzz that surrounded it? Oh, dude, yeah. And the problem with Game of Thrones is that they lost the source material. So they followed the books pretty well for as much as they could. And when they ran out of source material because George R.R. Martin refuses to finish that saga, it went south. The show was great until they had to write their own stuff, and then it went to shit. Netflix had quite the wake-up call when their stock plummeted. Yeah. and hopefully they stick with making their channel better. I hope so. There's been talk of them raising their prices though, which is not great. They should have stopped at cuties if they cared. Yeah, I mean, they did pull it, didn't they? It's not on there anymore. They do have some good stuff. They have a lot of good kid stuff, honestly. Their kid selection is actually solid. To be fair, the whole market is in the gutter. Most of it, there's not a whole lot of, and we're also seeing, and I don't have a problem with all these streaming services. Again, competition's good because eventually someone makes a better platform and people gravitate to that, and that's when shows move. Like Netflix was great, and then they started kind of screwing people over, so people were pulling their shows, and other places said, hey, we can do this better. So Paramount Plus comes out. I'll give Paramount Plus a year and you're going to see them fold. I would almost guarantee it. The only thing that's going to sustain that is what Star Trek, and Star Trek is trash anyway at this point, though I heard Strange New Worlds is better, derivative but better. Better than Discovery, better than Picard, but that's a pretty low bar. So do with that as you will. Troll Hunter, yeah, Troll Hunter was cool. I even enjoyed it. My best friend told me about that. Is Paramount about to have the Northman? See, that's something that will. So I guess I didn't consider their movies. Paramount Plus will probably survive with their movies. I didn't see Severance on Apple TV. I might sail the high seas for that one because I wanted to see it. It's a Ben Stiller thing. He does good stuff, man. Killbot is graduating tomorrow. My brother, congratulations on graduating, friend. Atta boy. Yeah, the Paramount Plus is pretty good. They have the Sonic movies and a bunch of old cartoons my son loves. Okay. See, I didn't consider their movies. Paramount usually puts out good movies. What about that Mark Wahlberg movie about reincarnation on Paramount? I enjoyed it. Oh, what is that? Father something? Isn't it like a biopic or something? Oh no, that's not it. He played. There's a movie that he's in that it's about a boxer who turned pastor or something like that. That's what I was thinking. I think that's different though. Appreciate you guys hanging out, getting the likes, guys. Thank you. And obviously if you can share the stream with your friends, it certainly helps the algorithm. But yeah, man, I appreciate all you guys. You're awesome. Of course, subscribe to if you guys aren't, if someone's lurking, you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, like the stream. There's ways to support if you'd like. Obviously, the main way you can support is by liking and sharing and watching. But if you feel as if you would like to support monetarily, we have a link up above, and it keeps us moving forward, friends. I appreciate it. Thank you. Paramount is shit. I don't disagree, friend. I don't disagree. Oh, Peacock. Yeah, there's too many. Infinite. Oh, really? That was good. Where he has like the sword. I heard that was cheesy as fuck. But hey, even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while. The problem with Hollywood too. I mean, it's us. Part of it is us, right? We have to accept some responsibility in this because Trey kind of pointed this out earlier. We hold modern movies to a previous standard, right? Like we're not going to get the stuff that we used to have. It was an interesting time because we had special effects, but they were more like makeup. Like special effects were once used to enhance practical effects, and now they've taken the place of practical effects, which is a big issue. I enjoyed it. I could be going lofty on you though. You never go full lofty. Never go full lofty. I need to have Lofty on again. I really enjoyed talking with him. Him and I would probably see eye to eye to a lot of movies. I know that there's movies out there that I enjoy that like that G&G and like Fellowship would just rip me on. I know it. That's why like I avoid like approaching some creators. So I'm like, oh Jesus. Like I just know one wrong thing and it's like you just get roasted. But part of me thinks that's fun. I blame M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong. He proved you could make bad movies and still get work. Yeah, and here's going to be my lofty take for the night, because when I had him on, we talked about M. Night Shyamalan. We no, but you're obviously gonna be here. Come on now. But I liked having Lofty on because like he's unapologetically honest and he sticks to his guns. He doesn't backtrack. But we talked about M. Night Shyamalan when he was on, and I had said that one of my favorite movies by him that nobody likes is Lady in the Water. I thought it was a beautiful movie. I thought the soundtrack was great. I thought the story was great. The acting was great. How dare you disrespect the, Unbreakable? Unbreakable was probably his best. I mean, I think Unbreakable was his best, followed by The Sixth Sense, followed by Lady in the Water. See, it's a tie. I think The Village and Lady in the Water are right there. But I think Lady in the Water does not get the credit it deserves. It's really good. But Unbreakable was good, man. There was like there was so much, there were so many like emotions. Again, good writing. There's really, really good writing. Yeah, The Last Airbender was awful, man. Hey, Green Rocks, thanks for hanging out, bro. You have a good night. We'll see you Wednesday for sure. Absolutely, friend. Yeah, Last Airbender was rough. It was really, really rough. But yeah, I don't know what his issue was. Even The Happening. The Happening is one of those movies that it just missed the mark. It was bad, but it just missed the mark. But that movie had, again, there was a couple of like John Leguizamo in that movie. I loved his little part. Like it was probably the best acting in there. But always confused Mark Wahlberg didn't help, and the rest of the acting was so bad. The writing was bad. I brought my son to see that because we watched the whole series and we were devastated. Yeah. The series was amazing. The Last Airbender, you want good writing? Go watch Avatar: The Last Airbender. Some of the best writing in TV. Easily. Yeah, it's too bad, man. There's no reason for a lot of these to be bad. I know you're going to have bad eggs, but like there's no reason that a Star Wars movie or show at this point should be bad. I would rather wait an extra 5 years for something to come out and it be written properly. Don't rush it. There's no reason to. These are beloved stories. And just because like the EU isn't technically canon doesn't mean like we should ignore all that. The real devastation was Legend of Korra. So, but Korra wasn't awful. It was not great, but it certainly wasn't. I mean, it wasn't Avatar, but it wasn't bad. Airbender on Netflix. I'm crossing my fingers. Yeah, I don't have high hopes for it. You gotta cross your fingers, and that's about all you can do. It might, and that's the thing. Well, you gotta hope it doesn't. You gotta hope that Netflix pulls its head out of its ass. You just, I don't know. Where's my window? Oh, that's some heartburn. Legend of Korra was terrible. A bratty bitch who never worked hard for anything. I'd have to go back and watch it. I don't remember it playing out like that, but I've been wrong before. I didn't like how they had them turn out. Aang and Toph were terrible parents, basically. Yeah. What I love about Korra is how they they essentially manipulated those elements like metal bending and blood bending and what were the other ones? I can't even think right now. Like the variations of the bending was awesome. See, Arcane is a show that I have not watched, and I really want. After watching these like good shows that I've been able to dip my toe into, I've heard Arcane is insanely good. Why watch a reboot when the original is good enough? Wait, which one are we talking about? Oh, you're talking about the Avatar and Korra. I suppose Korra was essentially just a reboot of Avatar. Yeah, Arcane is on my list. I actually purposefully have not watched the video by Critical Drinker because I didn't want any sort of spoilers. I wanted to just see the whole thing. And I keep passing by it because I'm currently watching, again, I'm watching Love of Death and Robots on Netflix. So I'm pretty excited for it. Because I've always been interested in the lore of League of Legends, but not enough to like read the characters and everything. Like I'd rather just tell me the story. I have no idea about the normal story of League, but Arcane is solid. Yeah, I don't either. I'd rather be it told in story form because people are saying like, oh, there's lore, there's all this stuff on these characters. I'm like, really? They run around a giant square for 45 minutes. Like, what story could you possibly tell? But I've heard Netflix, it really did a good job. So it's good to know. I'm still upset by He-Man Revelations. Yeah, dude, it's the He-Man Revelations thing was disappointing, to say the least. And that's really like, and the funny thing about that is, and I've talked about this before, the funny thing about this is that they want to bring men down and they want to elevate women, but in order to do that, they masculate them, which is bizarre to me. It's so bizarre. Why? They have a story game now for League as well. Oh, do they really? It's pretty cool. But yeah, the He-Man thing it blows me out. In any character, like you see it in Thor, Love and Thunder. Like, okay, so you're gonna put Valkyrie in a 3-piece suit, looks like a well-dressed man, and you're gonna give Natalie Portman big muscles. Like, okay, cool. Just make him look like a man. Take down the patriarchy. Oh, they don't have the game yet, but it's coming out. That's cool. Like, again, I'm all for that stuff. I'm a longtime Dota 2 player. I can't bring myself to play League. I don't know how you play Dota 2, my friend. Holy moly. Bless your little heart. I mean, bless your big heart. I'm sure it's a big one. Kevin Smith is a hack. Can confirm. What's this? Oh. Over 10K hours? Oh. Yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. Otis Ottenberry, thank you so much for stopping by. How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see everyone tonight. Thank you for taking your Friday night and spending it with me. I appreciate it. I actually got farther than I thought tonight. I thought I was gonna like chicken after like 45 minutes, but you guys kept me around. Appreciate you. Yeah, I mean, storytelling. I think we're on a plateau for sure, but I think we'll start to see little bits of hope here and there. I mean, that's my hope anyway. When I see shows like The Boys, I just think we're getting there. It's going to be slow, man. This like culture war as it stands now is really starting to. It has affected Hollywood in big ways, and I think when you have issues like with Amber Heard, Johnny Depp, when you have things involving like Gina Carano and all her stuff, I think it starts to like sort of tip the scales back a little bit, because normal people who see this stuff and they hear the initial stories and bullshit behind it, and then the truth comes out and you're like, oh, this is much different than I thought. You're going to have the gaming streams come back soon? Yeah. Yes. I have been doing them on the weekends, Trey. I don't know if you're unavailable on the weekends, but I have been doing them. Been trying to do them Saturday and Sunday. The past couple weeks have been weird with like COVID and stuff because my wife had COVID, I had COVID. So I had it first, then my wife got it. So it was like 2 weeks of like this weird like up and down. But I am doing my best to concentrate a lot of my content over here because I do really like the freedom and flexibility of YouTube. So, but yeah, the gaming stuff. Right now we were playing Terraria and Destiny a bit, so we're new season on Destiny, so I've been kind of grinding it out a bit. I just got to remember I'm 2 hours ahead of you. You're 2 hours ahead. Oh, it's late for you. Yeah, I mean that's again, Newslad burning the midnight oil with us. Yeah, you guys are. Thank you, ANCAP, for throwing the links in Discord. But No System is a company I really like and support. Brian over at No System has been a big supporter of me. He's given me an affiliate link for you guys to purchase his awesome merchandise. He's a great guy. You should go back and watch our episode from a couple weeks ago featuring Brian Beam. He's a really great guy, and he an amazing, fantastic artist himself. So, but yeah, if you use that link, that will support me. It'll support him, most importantly. And Discord's available in case you want to join the conversation offline. We talk every day. And I try and keep the community involved the best I can. And we're trying to grow. We're trying to grow a good, solid base of people. You just got over COVID. Lungs are still screwed up. Yeah, I'm sorry, dude. That sucks. I was feeling that too. Thank you, ANCAP. Thank you for being a good supporter, good mod. You've been awesome, bro. Thank you. Appreciate it. Everyone. I mean, oops, that's the wrong button. My hats off to all of you, and I thank you for all of your continued support. Wednesday and Friday nights are always fun over here on YouTube. I try and do my live video game shows over on twitch.tv/TheShagsworth on Saturdays and Sundays. Been sort of taking Mondays off a little bit. You're a turd. Yeah, you are. You are a bit of a turd, but we love you. You're our turd. You're our turd. But yeah, more and more content coming out via YouTube because I really enjoy it. I enjoy the creative freedom over here, and been working with my editor on many things, just up the quality of the videos and such. And we're getting there. We're finding our niche. I love talking movies. I love talking movies and nerd culture stuff, comics. And I don't always want to be like serious about stuff. Like I want to have fun and I want to enjoy the content that I consume, and sharing that with you guys means the world to me. But I do like to get into talking about everyday political stuff, cultural stuff, social commentary, and that's the Wednesday show. That's where we really kind of deep dive on the heavy shit. But I always want it to be fun. I want people to enjoy themselves and feel good when they're here and they're around me. So, let me look in here real fast. Do I have anything else? What I missed? Did I miss anything tonight, guys? What did I miss? Did I miss anything? Some great storytelling out there. Bottom line, good stories that are told. Good stories that are told, they take time. They take work. Trey's going to crash for the night. All right, man. You have a good night, bro. I appreciate you, dude. Really, really do. Thank you. But yeah, we're going to wrap it up here too. We're pretty good. We hit an hour and a half. It was a good stream. It's exactly what I wanted to do tonight, and it put just enough out there for you guys to take a look at. Our show. We have a show Wednesday night, the midweek hump with Horror Emirata and Sheepsidian. Be sure to tune into that. It starts at 9 p.m. Mountain Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. And we talk about all the hard-hitting stuff that's been going on in the week, in the culture war, in politics, all that sort of thing. So please be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the videos when you can, and share them with your friends. Help us get into the groove with the algorithm. We got to get our content out there, and I appreciate you guys showing up Friday nights. Tonight we usually do the panel with the Midnight Oil, starring our friends Demented for You, Space Zombie, and All This on the Farm. So please, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much, and thank you for burning the midnight oil with me. Have a good night.